What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Andy's History Lessons. This is the very first episode of Fun Fridays, which is another experimental side project that still has to do with Andy's History Lessons. And I figured for the very first episode of this new series, I would talk about a well-known cartoon from the 1990s. And that cartoon is Street Sharks. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but yes, Street Sharks was a cartoon that was made by Deke Entertainment, and it ran from 1994 to 1997. Now let's briefly talk about the company that made the show, Deke Entertainment. Deke Entertainment was a French company that originally started out in Europe and eventually branched out to the United States, where they built an American studio in Burbank, California. Now, the Burbank studio made the Super Mario Bros. Super Show in the late 80s and early 90s. They made all of the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons in the 1990s, and they did a whole bunch of Disney stuff in the late 1990s and early 2000s. So yeah, before I give you the whole synopsis of the show Street Sharks, I want to discuss the two factions. So on the good guy side, we have Dr. Lena and Benz, who are the two humans that help out the Street Sharks, and then we have the Street Sharks themselves. We have Streaks, Jab, Big Slam Moo, and Ripster. Yes, you heard me pronounce those names correctly. And then we have a couple extra characters who are allied to the Street Sharks. We have Manta Man, Rox, El Sordo, and Moby Lick. Yes, you did hear me say that. Yes, you heard me say that correctly. No, that is not a porn star name. Let's be mature adults here. This is a kid show, okay? Anyways, and then on the bad guy side, we have Dr. Paradigm, also known as Dr. Paranoid, and then we have Slobster Slash, no, not this Slash, the one with the the drill bit notes. Sorry, mama. She watches all my videos. I'm gonna get my butt kicked one of these days. And then, along with those, we have Killamari. Yes, you heard me say that correctly. Then we have Reptile, Shrimp Louie, Malcolm Medusa III, Maximilian Greco, Clamando, and Tentakill. Okay, now for the synopsis. So, Street Sharks takes place in the fictional town of Fission City. No, not Fission City, fission as in... Yeah. And what starts off in Season 1, Episode 1, which is split into 3 different parts, you see Dr. Bolton, father of the 4 brothers that eventually get turned into the Street Sharks, entering a laboratory, which is where his enemy, Dr. Luther Paradigm, is conducting his genetically modifying experiments. What he does is what he calls gene washing, which is where he takes the human DNA, splits it in half, and then fills in the gaps with shrimp DNA, shark DNA, piranha DNA, killer whale DNA to create these humanoid figures such as the Street Sharks and all their allies. Now, another thing about the show is that, continuing on with the episode, after Dr. Bolton confronts Dr. Paradigm injects him with this serum that contains some of the genetic modifying material, which turns Dr. Bolton into this unknown monstrosity of a creature and all that stuff. You never get to see what he truly looks like, but you can tell he's there because they use silhouettes of him throughout the first season. And another thing that they did with this show is that they changed the theme song. In Season 1, the theme song was a bit of a rock and roll sort of sounding song. And then in Season 2 onward, it had a more jazzy tone. If you want to, here are the examples of the songs. Now, I gotta warn you, the sound effects could not be edited out. They're built into the audio clip, which I think is pretty stupid. But here's the first one. Street Sharks. Okay, and now here's the second one.
There's a new breed in the neighborhood. Some say they're just no good. Half shark, half man, fighting evil, that's the plan. Street sharks. Street sharks. Street sharks. Oh, they're Jawsome. They bite. They bite. They stand for everything right. They bite. They bite. Chewing up evil with all of their might. Street sharks. Street sharks. Street sharks. Street sharks. They bite. They bite. They stand for everything right. Street sharks.
And at the end of the video, you can comment and say which one you like better. Moving on. So yes, after that, the four brothers investigate the lab where Dr. Paradigm is. This is where Dr. Paradigm captures the four brothers and then turns them into the street sharks by injecting them with different kinds of shark DNA and all that stuff. And then Dr. Paradigm starts playing political games against the street sharks. He starts saying that the street sharks are the ones that destroyed his lab and all that stuff, and that Dr. Bolton is the one that turned them into the street sharks and all that stuff, like turning the public against them, which is a pretty dirty move, and that's why he's such a good villain. He thinks, and that's why he's such a good villain. So yeah, and then you have Dr. Lena and Benz, who are the two normal humans that help the street sharks not only escape Dr. Paradigm, but also stay underground. Dr. Lena conducts whatever research they have to do and all that stuff whenever they find a strange substance or a chemical substance or anything like that. And Benz is the nerdy guy that creates all of the gadgets that the street sharks use throughout the series. And then in season 2, the two biggest villains that everybody really knew so well, Slobster and Slash, they get, well, slashed from the series. They get dropped. You never ever see them again throughout seasons 2 and 3. Instead, you get Shrimp Louie, Reptile, Tentakill, Malcolm Medusa III, Greco, and yeah, I think that was it. I think I got all of the new villains and stuff. These new villains, yeah, they're good villains, but they just don't have the same value as the first two villains. So yes, I think dropping the first two villains was a stupid move to make. It seemed to hurt the series and all that stuff. Another mistake they made in season 3 was doing all these sucky musical numbers. Season 2 and 3, I think, is when the series began to die off with all these musical numbers. Here's an example of one, and take my word for it, it's mediocre.
Rebels on the run, under the street and under the hood. Rebels on the run, never give up till freedom is won.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like,
Now we got to blow this down. Get my cage 'cause it's time to run down.
yeah, you see what I mean? And I'm sure some of you are wondering, well, these street sharks, you know, they're big and powerful. What do the street sharks eat? Well, the street sharks eat... Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing around with you. They eat burgers, believe it or not. There's a bunch of weird stuff in this show. But, yeah, so, throughout the show, they just keep trying to find their father at the same time they're fighting criminals and all that stuff. So they pretty much use their mutant powers for good rather than evil. And they're also the only free-thinking mutants that broke away from Dr. Paradigm. Dr. Paradigm originally tried to tried to brainwash the street sharks into becoming part of his like mutant sea monster army. And Dr. Paradigm even tried to turn one of their friends against them, which was Ben's. In the second or third part of episode 1, Dr. Paradigm kidnaps Ben's, and right before he injects Ben's with piranha DNA, the street sharks plow through the lab and defeat Dr. Paradigm. But in the fight, Dr. Paradigm gets stuck in the neck with one of his own needles that injects him with the piranha DNA. And now whenever Dr. Paradigm gets angry, he becomes Dr. Paranoid, kind of like the Incredible Hulk or Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And then yeah, it's just throughout season 2 and 3, that's when they started doing all that extra stuff that they really shouldn't have done and all that. And this show, it does teach like lessons about family values, the way the brothers keep trying to find their lost father and all that stuff. And they know that he's still alive and that he's helping them out, because in some episodes he leaves notes behind saying, "Hello, my sons, don't worry, I'm fine, I'm here to help you," and all that stuff, which I think is really cool. Yeah. And another thing is just that classic good will triumph over evil and all that stuff. But yes, this is a really good series. It has some spooky moments, some suspenseful moments, and some funny moments mixed into it too. It also touches upon subjects like war and stuff, because sometimes you have the fictional countries in the Street Sharks universe or whatever, fighting each other over land or over chemical power plants and whatnot. So yeah, it does touch upon the subject of war and all that. It's just really amazing. If you look, it was made by the Cookie Jar Entertainment. Cookie Jar Entertainment was the company that bought out Deke Entertainment. And then after Cookie Jar Entertainment went bankrupt in 2013, 3 years after buying out Deke Entertainment in 2010, Cookie Jar Entertainment was I almost said annexed, was bought out by DHX Media, another Canadian company. So yes, it's a really amazing series. The DVD is not that expensive, $27, $28 on Amazon, and it is a 4-disc set. 4-disc set. See, I'm gonna count them off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4-disc set, 10 episodes apiece, 40 episodes total. Fun for the whole family or for just yourself if you like to watch old cartoons and old TV shows and stuff, like me. I've watched this series myself. I really like it, and you and your whole family, or you yourself, you may enjoy it too. And one more thing, unfortunately, it does not come with subtitles. So if you've got hearing impairment or anything like that, or if you got kids that have like hearing loss and stuff like that, you're SOL, because it doesn't have subtitles. Another stupid move made by the Cookie Jar company who distributed this DVD and all that stuff. And also Mill Creek, who helped them distribute it and all that. They were actually the ones that put the episodes on the DVDs and all that. But, yes, that is it. This concludes the first episode of Andy's History Lessons Fun Fridays. Yep. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of the next time I make another video and upload it to my channel. Thanks, guys. Peace out and rock on.